Okay.
Welcome to the Southborough Trails Committee meeting on June 25th. I am calling the meeting to order at 7:29-ish. So we'll do a roll call when I call your name. Let me know that you're here. Will Warren.
Here.
Satyendra Sharma.
Here.
Pat McKee here. Great. Thank you. Okay, so to approve the minutes, I circulated. Do you want me to pull them up for? It's going to be, and there is a correction I want to make on the 5:30. So let's start with the 5:30 minutes. Actually, I think I want to make the amendment on the 17th. So we'll start with 5:30. Do you want me to pull them up, or have you had a moment to review what I sent?
I've reviewed them.
Okay. And Sati, you drafted them, so you're good.
What's that?
Are you good with the minutes as drafted?
Yeah, I didn't see them. I don't have the email.
Okay. So let me pull them up. You drafted, but I just did slight modification.
Okay, yeah. Let me see. Why I'm not seeing in my inbox. Not even the.
Are you seeing the May 30th?
Let me okay, now refreshing.
Am I sharing the right screen?
Yes.
One thing I want to point out, Sati, is you've been doing a great job at tracking the time for Peninsula Trail Phase 2, but we need to track the time for Phase 1, really.
Oh, okay.
So if you
This was
those, yeah, and I made that change here. So let's flip those and track what we're doing for Phase 1. That's what we're giving to
okay. Yep.
the grant as in-kind support. So thank you for tracking. And it's going to get a little confusing because if we do start talking about paving and we're using that as in-kind support, that's Phase 2. So I'll help you out and kind of ping us when we want to track time.
Yeah. So what is happening is we are discussing two things,
I know,
in kind of parallel. So that's why I always get confused.
Great job. And I tell you that when I was tracking the time with the for the grant, it was really helpful to go back to these minutes and see that information. So spot on. Thank you. So I'll give you a moment to just look through. I just put a few clarifying pieces here and there. Let me know when I can change. I'm going to put a comma under this bullet. Okay. And just for consistency, I can't help myself. I'm going to put paragraph spaces in here because we do elsewhere.
Are you going to put line numbering or?
No, sir, we don't do that. We're not like that. We're not that kind of committee.
Okay.
We don't do line numbering. Everybody else can do that. Unless you want to vote to have it done.
No.
No, I don't think we are.
Yeah, it's useful when you have long lists of texts and stuff, but we don't. I'm going to get rid of this space too. Okay. How are you feeling about them?
Good.
Okay. Do we want someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 30th, 2024?
I move that we approve the minutes from May 20th, 2024.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second it.
One member of the audience I'm thinking about. Just joking. Okay, so let's do a roll call vote, or let's vote. Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
Will Warren.
Yes.
Pat McKee. Yes. Motion passes. Great. Next up, June 17th. So what I want to amend here is I went back and looked at the meeting, and we did continue the discussion later on. Like you said, Sati, you go back and forth sometimes. So I'm going to make that a 15-minute discussion here. So I've made that change. I'll give you a minute to review.
Oh, 15 minutes. Yeah. And it was approximate. How much did I put? 20 minutes? No.
Maybe. I don't remember.
I was more generous with the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Adding that ST. Let me know when you're set.
Yep.
You're all set?
Yeah.
Will, you're good?
Yes,
Great. We could have done this in one motion, but we didn't. So can someone move to approve the June 17th, 2024 minutes?
I move that we approve the June 17th minutes.
I
Yeah.
seconded.
Great.
I seconded.
To a vote, Will Warren,
Aye.
Pat McKee, Satya Sharma.
Yes.
Did that out of order. Okay, motion passes. Thank you both. I'll submit those later tonight. I appreciate your time on that.
Mm.
Okay, so we'll stop sharing and go to the next item is phase one. So this is track time for this.
Okay.
work.
Yep.
So we have submitted the first grant reimbursement piece, and I do want to show you because I want you to understand what goes into, since it's all the time tracking and stuff. So let me pull it up. Okay. Let's share again. Okay. Can you see 3 files in a folder now?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to start with the worksheet. And this is where our timesheets get tracked into. So it starts with the expenditures. So for this worksheet, we are,
Mhm.
are there 2 receipts? Oh, because there were 2 things. Okay, fine. So this is what we're asking for reimbursement. And the match is automatically calculated here in the spreadsheet based on what expenditure we put in. So we can't ask for a reimbursement until we reach a match of this number, 8,314.25. Now our total match for this project is 30,000 and some change. Keep that in mind. Okay. So when we last spoke, we had a little bit of a deficit with DPW's original quote mismatching the actual expenditure. So we did squeak by so far. I've not heard back. I sent this in last week. So I'm going to go through the different tabs so you can understand how we're doing things. So this is where I dump our timesheets into this worksheet. And so as you can see, hours worked, the hourly rate is based on the state set. There's a volunteer rate set by the state, or maybe it's set by the federal government that's used. So you'll notice 2022 is different from 2023. And because we're in early 2024, we have to use the same rate as last year. So there'll just be a small discrepancy. As you can see, it's only a few dollars per year that it changes, or not even, like this is less than $1, right? So if there might have been a timesheet or 2 that had like tracked 1.5 hours every time we had a meeting. So I wasn't exactly able to use that full time because the whole time wasn't spent talking on this project. So I just duplicated those of us who did track the 15 or 10 minutes that we spent in each of our minutes. I modified the timesheet to reflect that for those who were in attendance for the meeting. And I did go back to the minutes, which these are what minutes are great for that reason. You know, it says who's absent and who's here. So this, and I'll scroll down. So this is from the beginning of the project. You might recall we collected timesheets Q1 in 2023. So then we added on from there. So this goes back to the original 2022. So with all of our time spent and different, you know, a lot of my emails and stuff and all that time gets tracked in here as well. We are up to $3,371 in volunteer time. So that's how important our time tracking is for us to be able to help meet our match. So when you don't think that 15 minutes matter, you add that up by number of months over a year, and it does. It adds up.
Yeah.
Pretty significant, right? So that was part of the matched calculation. So match equipment, I broke down the DPW estimate that they provided us, or the receipts, and you'll see the receipts are linked here. So we've got the dump truck use and cat excavator. Then not this cat, but a CAT excavator. Then we have the staff labor And I also, we used the ADA consultant. I called Carla. We originally paid for that out of our, we were tracking it against our mass trails, but I've asked if we could take that out of our ARPA bucket and use it as a match instead, because I needed a little bit more match to make our requirement. So we were able to do that, and Carla is working on the documentation on the back end. So that's why you see these 2 hours here, 2 sets of hours are from the ADA consultant in August of 2023. The match donation, so this I was able to pull up. The cost of the permit was waived by the town, so that's a contribution. And then the NOI, Melissa Danza provided the calculations for the waivers there. The town waived it because it was a municipal project. So those are, I put those towards match. And you can see that was significant in $2,156. So all of those matches that came right to be basically the match summary, we came out at 10.5 if all of it is approved, which is pending review. So we needed to do the 8,000, what was it? So we're a little ahead of the game. We needed to do.
What is the review process? I mean, how do they review it? Do they go
Well,
back in time and look at the?
No, they'll look at our documentation and determine whether the expenses are legitimate, the match is legitimate, and it looks okay. And I'll take you through I'll take you through the other documentation in a few minutes. So what we have here, if I paste numbers, no. Yeah, so I wanted to understand how much in advance, how much overage we have to work with. So there's 2,100 because we have to get to that $30,000 figure, right? So part of that is going to be our strategy of using the paving of the ADA spots towards the project. So that's something we can do to make up the rest of that money, I hope, plus our continued volunteer hours.
The paving that we're doing will satisfy, the consultant we brought in terms of being adequate for disabled
Right.
parking.
That's right. That's the idea. And we may have to have him come out and do another like qualification, but that is why we're doing paving. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if we had, if the original install had, maybe a different approach and using different types of material like stone dust that kind of settles in and prevents that's more of an acceptable steady substance versus gravel, which is loose and rocky and trip hazard. So that's one of the lessons learned is if we had made maybe more specific requests in the type of materials used, then we might have had a different outcome. But it's also a match from a town organization. So, we're at the mercy of the organization that's willing to donate the services.
Right.
And this is just the rates per year. So we could track that. So that's the detail. And then for the receipts, there is a cover page. I'll open that up and let you see what it looks like. So basically it's just simple fill in the blanks here. Our award amount is 50,000. And then what's the brief description of what was done. And then the total value of expenditures, the match, and the total value this request. So, and the minimum match due is 83. And again, you see that we made that happen in this round.
So
if if we exceed the hours, I mean
That's
the
fine.
match.
The match.
so that's that they consider that as match, or they go back to that 8,300 something.
If we exceed the match of 8,000, can we carry that forward? Is that what you
Yes,
need?
yes.
Yes.
Next one, I will be doing that.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how. I think we'll be in good shape because the paving is going to come out at a higher cost, but I don't know how the worksheet's going to work. I'll have to ask that question. If, for example, what we put in there isn't exactly, I might have to put a line item of carryover from last time. You know what I mean? As a way to work around that to ensure, because it looks like if they just got that worksheet and the match didn't meet the expectation, it might kick it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any, as a way to get more matching, is there any work that's going to be done on site that we should go oversee or at least witness or something?
There will be when we do some paving and such, and
Yeah.
yes. So I think there
So,
are times we can go out there and,
yeah, I think that, having somebody out there will help us with the match and also just make sure to help us know exactly what's happening there.
yeah, and I'll get into that in just a few minutes because something Bill kind of had indicated, which was engineering plans for the paving is going to actually help make sure that the work is done properly and
Right.
in the right specs. So that will be helpful, but I agree, Will, that we'll have someone on board.
How
So
is the relationship with Bill coming
Great.
along?
he's
Good?
really not, yeah, he's super helpful, very responsive, really appreciate that. Big shout out to him. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be a good relationship and I'm really happy to be working with him on things. So yeah, so just this next piece is just the receipts I just want you to see. So what we submitted was the any fence expense reimbursement here. Then we had, oh, that's why it's expense number 2. Then I had to provide the canceled check front and back. This is the labor that Bill broke down. So he did all of this in a very quick turnaround time for us. So that was really, really kind and respectful of him. So this is another invoice they use for materials and such. And then this was the Center for Living and Working, our ADA consultant, their invoice, their canceled check. And then this is the copy of the permit, the building permit fee that was waived, and then Melissa's email documenting the Wetland Protection Act fees and the local fees and the peer review fees. And then she attached the fee schedule. So I included all of that information for them to see.
Okay.
So, and I will track the time, create this to report as a time spent on the project because it was
Okay.
time since there was a lot of, it took a while to pull it all together. And
Do
thank you
we
for submitting your timesheets.
do we have a new recreation director
You're
yet?
gonna say recreation director, aren't you?
Yes,
Yes,
I am.
I met him. And
Good.
I forgot his name. But forgive me, he was appointed during this 18th meeting, last meeting that I had asked you about, if you saw.
Okay.
And I forget what his name is, but really nice. And I just ran up to him after he was appointed and said, hey, this is who I am. And you'll get to know me and the committee soon when you come on board. I think he's coming on in July. He knows Tim Davis really well, so that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm excited that we'll have our 3rd recreation director. I might have mentioned something about that. And the director of DPW and the director of the watershed.
Well,
DC
I'm
commissioner.
glad to hear of your favorable opinion. I just hope that we've had a number of people who have accepted or sort of accepted and then unaccepted, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully I didn't inspire him to unaccept by saying you're the 3rd of everybody. Again,
Just so you know, I have noted that Sam Stivers is here. So
oh, thank you, Sam. Yep. So, okay, so that's the grant and we submitted all of that. So now, I did not do another thing that I said I was going to do, which is reach out to Sati, coordinate with him on sign development. I'm super sorry.
you want me to give you a time
Yeah, you need to.
so that
Fire,
because it is I have been waiting on your this thing, but I can do that, right? I mean, I can send you a text
Hey,
that
are you taking any time off next week for the 4th of July?
I am not.
Not, you work all the time.
No, I mean, yeah, I know where to go. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe on Saturday I might go to Block Island, but for one day trip.
That'll be fun. Okay. Yep. So we've got to do the signage. it's just been a lot of managing different aspects of the project and work and after hours, my physical therapy type stuff that takes hours every day to find the time. And that's really been my block.
Oh, okay.
If I dedicate the hours there, I won't get the hours in. So that's my challenge.
How's the leg doing?
It's getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. It's just, you have to work out the rest of your life to make sure your muscles and bones all stay together.
Mm.
So that's what I'm doing.
So we about 18 minutes we did.
Okay.
Okay. I'm putting that time in
Yeah.
the phase 1.
Yeah. And then I'll reach out and see what we can do, to figure out our next steps with that piece. And then let's move into phase 2. So we have the wetland delineation has been completed. The consultant has taken care of that.
Now, this is the delineation below the dam.
Yeah, it's right next to Route 30. It's that little, where the boardwalk is gonna go in that little pond.
Okay, but you know, there was wetland, you know, after the trail becomes kind of muddy, there was wetland along there.
Do you mean the access road?
Well, the trail, I mean,
Muddy.
no,
Between the pond and the Stony Brook stream?
maybe that's what I mean, but it's if you're walking up from Route 30, you know, from where the parking will be, and you go past the paved area, then you get into the muddy trail, right?
Oh,
And you
you're
walk-
talking on the other side.
Yeah, and you walk along for a while.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
there are puddles in the muddy trail, and
Yeah.
there is to the right.
Yeah, yep, there's water there. Yeah,
Is that
We're not-
considered a wetland or?
it probably is, but we're not doing anything in there.
Okay, so we can leave that alone. We don't have to delineate that.
We only delineated the area where we have, installing the boardwalk.
Okay, and were there any surprises in terms of the wetland delineation there?
Not yet. Yep, and actually, Sati, we may add on to that 17 minutes in a few minutes when we talk about paving, which is under this part 2. So I will help remind us to start the clock again.
Okay.
Okay, but for now, so I have scheduled, because I reached out, and this is sort of the clock starting, I guess. We'll just estimate at the end and do the best we can, but I reached out to David to ask him from Beals and Thomas to ask him of one of 3 engineering firms if they would be interested in providing us a quote for the paving, right? Because we need the engineering services. That's one thing that Bill did recommend, that we have engineering plans. And if we have the engineering plans, it's going to make the project go much smoother, and they will do it right with the engineering plans. And the plans should not cost more. I'm not going to put an estimate out there. It should not cost a lot. It should be a couple grand less, right? Something in that ballpark. Ish. Don't quote me on that. You can put in the minutes, but actually just say we're not sure, but it's not going to be as costly as other engineering services we're currently incurring. So it is worth doing. And so I reached out to Beals, and we're going to do a site visit tomorrow. I reached out to PAR, and I reached out to our friends at VHB and asked them both about the paving and the crosswalk, actually, because that is on the table as well. So if we heard back from VHB, I provided him a sketch and such. He's going to be out next week, so I don't know if he'll be able to get anything to us this week, but we'll see. And then David from Beals will be providing a quote. And so what we'll be able to do is, if it's acceptable, we can use our it's a good question about what bucket we're using, because I need to, it's technically our CPA project. but we have ARPA money to use towards our project, which this is part 2 of our project. So I need to figure out what bucket it makes sense to come out of it, because it does probably make sense to come out of the ARPA bucket first. And I think we have to clarify with CPC. They like chunks, they want invoices in chunks, not to pay small bits and pieces of things. So we want to make sure we're abiding by those rules. And so we'll get the quotes in for the paving, and then we'll see when we can get that done. We need to try to leverage getting it done on our current NOI. So I need to reach out to Melissa. I talked to her earlier this year, it must have been earlier this year, or maybe it was late last year, about what we needed to do our NOI. And it may just be as simply as telling Melissa, she brings it up to the commission and they vote, or don't have to vote, they're just notified. One of the appropriate measures will take place, and I'll make sure that happens in the short term. So that time slot we just spoke about would be tracked to phase 1.
Okay, so this is that part of phase 1 we discussed? Okay, I'll add extra minutes.
Yeah. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll have a quote that we can vote on and go from there. And I specifically included the crosswalk because we may benefit from a firm that would the engineering services might just be a small job that, but if they're doing the crosswalk too, we might get economies of scale if they're doing double projects with us. So we'll see how that turns out. And again, with the crosswalk, we're going to need to talk to the select board and find out what they need. And this is maybe a long shot. Like if we can get that parking, I'm assuming we're going to want like a letter of commitment from Sunapee that they're willing to put forth the parking if we put forth the
does that discussion need to be with the entire select board or a member?
Imagine it happening with only one. Yeah, the entire board. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting ready to put together a list of topics that we'll need to talk to them about, including spending some more of the ARPA money because they need to approve every expenditure.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that. And so when I meet with Dave tomorrow, I'll find out where we are, next steps with the project, what we need to do to get on the next Conservation Commission's agenda if there's a deadline coming up, because we want to, with the Mass DEP's slow timeline, we want to kind of keep things moving as efficiently as we can. So that's the short piece there. Just trying to, oh yeah. So related to this, I reached out to CPC to say, hey, are we doing a memorandum of understanding or agreement that we did last time? And there was some concern that was brought up during the year that legal counsel said, because we're volunteers, we don't have signatory power, so we can't technically bind. We can't sign a contract. So CPC, they've relabeled it to be a letter of expectation. So we received our letter of expectations and we can look at that now if you don't mind. Let me share my screen again. Oh, no, this one.
Is that a real thing or did they just make it up?
What?
A letter of expectation.
This real thing? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a letter that says we commit to doing this project, and it details all of what the project scope is going to be. So it's a good thing to have. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's read through it.
This is the phase. Which phase? Phase 2. Yeah. Okay. Then
No,
it is.
sorry.
It is not. The minutes are not counted in that. Okay.
Okay.
So this doesn't bind the town, is what you're saying?
No, it's not a legally binding agreement. It's more of a letter of expectation, which documents we have agreed as the Southborough Trails Committee to do this project for this amount with these details and this timeline.
Is this an addendum to the MOA?
This is in lieu of.
In
So
lieu of,
notify.
okay.
Yeah, they've changed the name to letter of expectation.
But this, whose requirement does this satisfy?
Who does this require?
Or, yeah, who does this get sent to?
CPC, Community Preservation Committee, as
Okay,
funding that we got.
all right. Okay,
I'm on this paragraph. I believe I'm gonna track changes.
but this doesn't,
There needs to be a period there.
this is just a letter of expectation. It's not,
Voices, voices, communicate with CPC.
we should call it a letter of aspirations. How's that?
So it is their language. I mean CPC's language, or okay.
Okay. All right, project name, bridging again. Yep, warrant article to see if the town, that's straight from the article, so we won't be doing anything there. Project component, Catherine Key. It's really. It's really Southborough Trails Committee.
Mhm.
And I'm
Okay.
a person, right? So if you guys are comfortable with that. And Recreation Director is no longer Tim Davis. It's. I'll just put. How about we'll put comma, no name. And they can edit it if they know the person. Project fine, brief description and direction, Southwest Trust Committee and Recreation Director Tim Davis, nope. As advisor, said funds will be used for the installation of boardwalk bridge on the trail construction related such, good. Actually, our other tasks, fine, because we had paving in there, but that's fine. Project requirements as discussed and agreed to during meetings with CPC.
Or we can write incoming recreation director, and this is also okay.
What was that, Sati?
Incoming recreation director. I mean, this is also okay though.
Voices of Xfinity, once a month. And CCCPC Chair Ben Smith. Update on project every 6 months, update to include what has been accomplished, what is expected. Budget numbers, answer any questions, update meetings to be held via Zoom. Well, if you're gonna use a period, once you use it every time. Okay, contingency funding cannot be spent without approval, keep committee informed, update committee on the funding sources, inform committee about documented permits, perfect. Start date July 1st, great, anticipation, great, okay. So that's pretty straightforward. Any questions or concerns here, other than I took Tim's name out and just left it director, because.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we on track to get all this done?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, we're on track because so we're getting the NOI in place now, Will, and then we have to go to bid. And this will help us fund the bid. Right, so we're gonna ask for a project contractor and to purchase the bridge and the boardwalk and put it all together. So this is money to help us finish that project.
Just out of curiosity, who exactly will determine that the bridge that we're purchasing is adequate? Is that the
Project contractor.
The project contractor will do that? And, you know, the conservation people or the water people or whatever don't really have a say in that?
The water people, MWA,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
All right.
we'll work in collaboration with them.
so as long as our contractor says it's okay, then it's okay.
Yes, right, that's why we have to hire trusted, what was it, a letter of, what was it called?
Expectation.
Thank you.
Do we have any do we have to get any inspections after all the work is done?
Oh, yeah. I think so. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure our building department will be involved, our engineering company. I wonder if they will do some inspections. Yeah, I'll talk to Dave about that tomorrow too, to see what.
But I mean, for instance, the state or something doesn't have to get involved.
There'll be somebody in charge. I mean, somebody will have to inspect it and whoever that is will figure it out. I don't have all the answers right now, but those are the right questions. So thank you for thinking of them and bringing them up.
Okay,
Okay, so that is done. I will reach out to Betsy, send that redlined. It's very minor and see if we're good to go. And then I will figure out next steps when it comes to the funding of the paving, if that's gonna come out of our ARPA stuff. Then it should. Okay, next up on our agenda, any questions on that or comments?
we're not on any possibility of losing ARPA funding, are we?
Yeah, I think it's always on the chopping block. I don't. Yes, we have to spend it quickly. Before we, that's the answer I'll have. Like, they just keep coming for it. So we just have to keep trying to move things forward.
Okay,
And rightfully so. I get it. Not trying to be, but we've just got to get this done. I'm really looking forward to finishing this project because it's a great project. And by the way, I want to share something with you. So the woman at AMC, the Bay Circuit Trail that we've coordinated with for August 17th to do the volunteer day. They're gonna. Ooh, speaking of which, I could use an invoice from them and apply.
this is the Appalachian Mountain Club.
Budget. Say that again.
Appalachian Mountain Club.
Yeah, AMC. And so we had agreed as a committee to spend the $250 to get their leadership out to help us develop the ADA as much as we can, ADA, the natural surface, and they're going to bring some volunteers out to help. I saw her again just separately at the National Trails Day. There was a Trails Fest hosted by AMC Worcester chapter out at Mount Wachusett, and they had a Bay Circuit Trail table. And a man, what is her name? Amy, had just finished section hiking parts of the Bay Circuit Trail. And she said, unsolicited, by far the worst and most dangerous section of the entire BCT, which does cover some roadways and stuff, was our section in Southborough on Route 30, where there is no edge to get by.
Well, that was awfully nice of her to remember us.
But no, she's like, it goes to the importance of this project and getting it done, because it is a very dangerous section, and it would be nice to link the three trails finally after many years. So that. Okay, next up, mowing contracts. So yes.
Just a moment. So
I mean,
I'm reading from last time's minutes.
Yep.
Anything regarding the kickoff meeting, MWRA and BS engineering?
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I did not kick off yet. I have to do that. I'll talk to Dave tomorrow about his availability with July next week, July 4th. I'm going to guess that the beginning of the week's probably not good, but I can throw out some dates and then do the week after and see what we have for Doodle Poll. I should do that tonight. I will do that tonight.
Okay. And the second thing is this is still there, right? Schedule the AMC volunteer crew for natural surface trail
August
work.
17th. That's
August
scheduled.
17th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Speaking of mowing, are we gonna get any trees cut back?
You just couldn't let me talk. Yes.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, it is the next topic. So
Okay.
I saw J&J. I saw Justin from J&J at the town meeting last week and asked him because this was part of last meeting too, when I met with Bill, we called J&J just to confirm mowing schedules and stuff. And so I did indicate that I'd be reaching out to him to see if he could help with some trees. So Will, thank you for taking those pictures. I did take a dangerous walk down that path full of poison ivy. Did you notice that?
I didn't get any poison ivy when I walked it, so no. I
Well,
never
good for
noticed.
you, because that is a poison ivy haven. And we really need to go in there and do some careful cutting back of the brush without weed whacking it, because it will spray oil everywhere.
Right, but I tell you, that trail is just notorious for toppling trees. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on there.
there's something happening there. Like, I had talked to DCR about all the dying trees there, and they said it could be if they're red pines. They don't like wet feet, and it's close, so it might be something like that.
Yeah,
where-
that's what I was
that.
thinking, wet feet, yeah.
Yep, so it's a shame because they just keep going, but there's a lot of trees there, and then Tom had confirmed there's some trees on 9/11. There's also, I drove past Deerfoot, and I think Will and Sati have both helped me in that area. That trail's pretty much grown in, so we could really use some help kind of brushing that out. So I reached out to J&J, and I'll be talking to him tomorrow to see what we can do to schedule some of his work.
Just out of curiosity, I don't know how these things work, but is it do we pay a tree by tree price, or is it a visit by visit price?
Could be. So last year when we did some tree work, we had a quote of 3 or 4 trees, and he provided a quote for that, and that's how that got done.
Right, I was just thinking that if there are trees that are dead or dying, and we know they're going to be coming down in the not too distant future, would it make sense to have them taken down
Yeah, that's a
proactively?
good strategy for town departments who have a lot of money. It's less of a great strategy for little departments that have little committees that have limited budget. So I hear you.
Okay,
And I think if there was a dangerous tree that could cause harm or something, we might need to be more proactive about it. But I think we might not have graduated out of our minor league budget yet
okay,
to be that good.
okay.
But I hear you. But let's keep our eyes open. Okay. So that's the mowing. So when I talk to J&J, I'll ask him about that, and then I'll ask him about doing a site visit to confirm when trail mowing can happen up to Westboro area. So that's something we have to really work out with them and coordinate with MWA, who mows it twice a year. So we don't want to duplicate efforts, but we really want the extra mow to make a difference.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. This lovely topic of bench selection. So I reached out to Brian in Treasury and confirmed that we have $635 remaining in our choke fund grant from 2022. So that funding was supposed to be for, you remember we had some cancellations, 631. We had some cancellations of nature hikes due to rain and things like that.
Yeah,
So this is the reason I reached out, is because some of this budget can be used for our yoga on the trail series, because we're going to do that again this year.
right.
And the other part of the budget was a interpretive sign and a bench, I believe, was some of the price in here. So we can use the rest of this money to fund those projects. We just have to get we just have to choose the right bench, because I am, to your point, Will, like, I don't really know how we're going to carry a heavy bench anywhere.
Well, we can rent a hand truck, carry a bench like that.
When you say hand truck,
I mean, a hand truck
Big
is
dog.
a two-wheel thing that,
I've got a really pretty heavy duty dolly that flattens out like a flatbed, not just two-wheeler.
but yeah, okay, fine. I mean, the two-wheeler might be convenient for rougher terrain,
Yeah,
but the bottom line is that probably would be adequate. How much does this bench weigh?
We looked at some, I forget, was it like 150 pounds?
Yeah, that's not that difficult to wrestle around.
I could
with a
bench
hand
that.
truck.
Just kidding.
I'm sure you could.
Not in-
Absolutely.
No, not yet. Maybe next year.
Mhm.
Not me. Okay, so I have not done it. I mean, I think ideally what I would like to try to do is like go on a shopping spree in the next 2 days and like take care of the bench, a couple benches, we have some trail tools. We had
Yep.
agreed to buy a gorilla, like one of those gorilla rolling carts that would be able to distribute, like, for example, wood chips or no, we don't use mulch, but you know what I mean? Like you would use that to kind of like a yard cart, but it's a heavy duty gorilla sized one. So we could use it if we're weeding and need to remove the weeds from an area, or we could use it to distribute some sort of surface that we're trying to cover up weeds and stuff. Like if we decided to use a trail, something on the trails in certain spots to keep the weeds down, we could do it.
Mhm.
So I will make a suggestion at our next meeting, before our next meeting. And actually, I don't mean to say it like that. I mean to say that I would like to make a purchase before our next meeting and go ahead and get those purchases on the books. So I think we had in our past, we could do another vote because I think we've already discussed this, but can someone make a motion that Kat can purchase up to 2 benches to satisfy the there's 2 pieces. One is our ARPA funds we had for one bucket was a bench, and the choke fund grant was a type of bench. So up to 2 benches and for the trails, and go ahead and make those purchases.
Sure. Just one question. Are those benches going to have anything written on them, or?
I don't think so. We talked about that. It's not off the radar as far as something in the future, but I think in order to execute in a fast paced way, we're gonna get caught up on that detail. So let's not do it this time, but let's consider it for the future, because it might be, yeah, let's consider.
No, I'm totally on board with that. I agree.
Yeah. I like the concept though a lot. Okay, so someone was gonna make a motion that Kat can spend up to purchase 2 benches at a reasonable price. And we've already talked some price points, so I'm not gonna go out of upward.
And so what would the total bill be then?
Well, I'd have to pull up our numbers. We had bench quotes before.
I thought the bench quotes were around $600, weren't they?
Yeah, but I'm not looking to spend 600, so it might be 6 or 7. It might be up to 800 for 2 benches, something like that, right? And
Okay,
I'm paying out
all
of
right, that's
2
fine.
buckets, something like that. I'll be very cost sensitive. And yeah, so if the committee is comfortable with that, can someone make a motion?
I move that Sati make a motion.
I already written the language, so I cannot move the motion.
All right,
Okay,
I
so-
move that,
I second it.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll make that happen. Volunteer recruitment still haven't.
Oh, wait a minute, you gotta
vote.
vote it. You gotta
Oh,
vote
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Rushing right through it. This is how scheme
Yeah.
listening has happened. Let's do a roll call vote. Will Warren,
I,
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Yes, thank you all. Okay, yoga on the trail series, so that we had agreed to go yes on that. So she had provided a number of dates. Let me just pull this up so we can get that straight. And because what I might be doing is,
will this be held in the last place that she had it?
yeah, it will.
Okay.
So
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At 75. Let me just see how much that. So 9 sessions at 75 is 675, and I think we do a budget for that. So what I might do is, depending on how our fiscal year end budget works out, like if we can spend it on our tree work, great. If we need to spend it on some yoga on the trails, great. So I'll kind of play it by ear there. And so I'll go ahead and let Emma know. I did let Emma know that we were interested, and I will see if we need to use a PO to secure the funds or if we're going to do it the next time. Okay.
Okay.
And I think one of these, actually, that's a good point. One of these should be applied to the choke fund grant. So I'll make sure that happens too. Okay. And then volunteer recruitment. We have not recruited for volunteer yet. But we did, so Sati, have you gotten sworn in yet?
Not yet, but she sent me a.
Is
She
it by
sent me
July
a.
3rd?
Yep.
Me too. So
I was
probably-
sworn in yesterday,
you're good? Okay.
yes.
You should have already been on good. You probably got sworn in for something else, right, Bill, for one of your other 50 committees that you serve on?
I got sworn into the accessibility committee and to the trails committee.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm doubly sworn, I'm super
Double
sworn.
sworn. Yeah, so Sati, you gotta go, I gotta go, and Tom has to go, or we risk quorum, so I'll.
Do we have to take, you know, the conflict of interest stuff and everything?
It's in your message if you did or not. I got smiley faces, so I think I'm good. Meaning I've complied for the.
Yeah. So that's the same thing.
Did you get smiley
Yeah.
faces? Good.
Hmm.
I like the smiley faces because to do it again. Oh, that was reappointments. I guess I covered that. Okay. And then closing out any projects, we already talked about the choke fund grant, so we're gonna get that. When we're doing signage for our Mass Trails Phase 1, we should remember how Isabella, before she left, she came up with a sign. So that was what the choke fund grant was supposed to pay for, like a little signage, and it was on White Pine, I think. And so we should make that come alive again and do a little something, and decide where to put that signage.
No, that was a nice design.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, so I will try to make that happen, like just revive the document, and Sati and I can talk about it when we meet and talk about site. The DCR work plan, so that's on Tom. Tom's not with us today, so he's going to be helping us shortly with that, so,
Do we need any more trail walking, by the way?
excuse me.
Trail walking, do we need to walk any more trails to
I
know where our
can't,
trails?
I hear you, but you're trailing off, so trail
Do
walk,
we need to do any more trail walking?
like hikes. Guided walk.
No, but like looking for felled trees or anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have a lot of maintenance to do, actually. So, it's something that I think if we as a committee can, pick a few days after work while the light is still low, the days are still low,
Yep,
and just try to bang out some of it. I am gonna try to get J&J to help with some of it. The Deerfoot piece is big. So let's,
okay.
it's a good question and the right question. So. All right, any other questions, comments, thoughts to share? Okay. So next meeting, we don't have to do it back to back right now. So let me go to July. Let's see, how about the how about the 16th, Tuesday, the 16th? Actually, let me just look at something. I need to see when the select board is meeting, because I don't want to put our meeting on top of theirs in case I can get on their calendar to talk about stuff.
July 16th would be fine with me.
What was that, Whisperer?
July 16th would be fine with me.
That is fine with you. Okay, let's see. Don't they put it on their last agenda, like when the upcoming stuff is happening?
As long as it's in the late afternoon, evening, that'd be fine.
Second.
There's a. Here we go. July 16th is their next meeting, so that's not quite gonna work. So do you, I know the Wednesdays are tricky for you sometimes, Will. How's the 17th though? Or do you have a Rotary thing you need to do?
I have a Rotary meeting on the 17th. Can we do it the 18th?
Yeah. How about you on the 18th? Sati,
18th is okay. It's fine.
good, okay. All right. Let's plan for the 18th. I'll circulate a meeting invite. Okay, so if there's nothing else, does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
What time would that be on the
Oh,
18th?
7:30.
Okay.
That's our time. Our time is 7:30.
I
It's
move
Thursday.
that we adjourn.
All right, so
I
you,
second it.
You second, okay, so everyone, and, when I call your name, let me know. Will Warren,
Aye.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Kat McKee, yes. Okay, meeting is adjourned at 8:24. Thank you all very much, and, Satya, I'll be in touch for real this time. All right, thank you,
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
bye.
Night.